What's up, everybody? Welcome to day 16 of my 18-day challenge to my 50th of putting videos on here. Today, I want to talk about my gratitude for not giving up on myself, especially in times that I really did want to give up. Throughout my life, I've never been given anything. I've never been just like, hey, you know what? You just won the lottery and here you go. I've had moments in my life where I've had wins and stuff like that, and some losses. And in those moments when I had those losses, it really tested my ability or my belief in myself. And I'm glad, looking back and reflecting on all my life up to this point, that I never really gave up on myself. I always had that little fire in there. Now, I'm not saying it was a raging fire, a lot of stuff, a lot of storms, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of backwards and forwards and uphills and downhills and rolling and falling and hurting yourself. And I have scars to prove it, They may not be on the outside, but they're all inside, especially in here. But I'm grateful that I never did give up. Now, reflecting back on those times, that I could see, other people would give up on something. They'd be like, what, I'm done with that. Especially like photography. I know I always reflect back to that, but that's because that is my profession, is photography and videography. And when we first started, it was rough. It took a lot, and especially not ever owning your own business. Learning how to build your business, get an LLC, get your license, get your insurance, do this and get your gear, learn your gear, and then learn Photoshop and Adobe, everything all together. It's a mountain of stuff. But I never gave up. I didn't want to give up. And that's what, like I said, with a lot of things in my life, yeah, there's been times where you have to just step back from something. But that doesn't mean you have to fully give up on something. You don't have to fully give up on a dream. If you're new to YouTube, you don't have to give up because someone's not liking your channel or you're not getting the views. There's a lot of, if you look on my playlist now, I've been putting a lot of videos. I'm trying to step away from the shorts and step into more in-depth stuff, longer format videos. And yeah, I'll look at the analytics every now and then. I try not to now, and I look back on the stuff that I previously posted, and I can revert back to shorts. If I want to get another one of these plaques on the wall, I can go right straight to shorts and get it easily. Or I could build all these other channels and just focus on that. But I can't give up on myself. I gotta see it through. I gotta make an effort. I can't give up. Like with my speech and how I talk and how I have my presence. If I would have gave up, I think I did it. My first series was back in December, and I said, hey, I'm going to come on here and I'm stepping from behind the lens and doing this whole Sandbox podcast. Now, when I did that, I got critiqued like hell, and it came from people that were in my inner circle. They were the one with the loudest mouths and the biggest critics. And, you would come back from recording something and you jump on the group of people and they're like, oh, and that stuff would knock you down. It wasn't building, it wasn't lifting up anybody, it wasn't inspiring. And now I'm not saying criticism is not bad. Constructive criticism is very helpful, especially when it comes from the right source. But when it comes from, like I said on the other day, little body, big heads, it could be a destroyer. And you got to find ways to get around that. The best resource that you could do or look up is just people outside of your own element. Get away from your local market, get into another market, get into something somebody else is doing that you can see the passion matches your passion. When two people have the same passions in something, you can feel it. That's all they talk about. That's all they get excited about, and they lift. They truly want to lift each other. And I'm grateful for the ones that I did find now. I tap into them. They're a great resource. They help me, inspire me, and lift me up. But I'm still grateful for not giving up. I'm still grateful for, after I started posting the long format videos and getting 1 or 2 views, that I bounced back from that little rabbit hole that you can easily fall into of depression and stuff. When you work on something, say like a piece of art, and it's the best piece of art that you've made in your life, and it flops, that hurts. Or if you invested so much time into something and it doesn't work out, like right away, you're not seeing the results, you're not seeing anything coming through. That tests your grit, your agility, your why, like we talked on the other video, your reason. And if you have a strong reason for your why, you'll be able to bounce back from everything. I dive deeply into spiritual and motivational videos. That stuff inspires me. The Les Browns, Eddie Pineros, and all those people. I know I keep saying their names, but because those names are the ones that stand out the most for me. There's other people as well, and I'm going to do a video on everybody that inspires me. So look for that later down the road. But to cut it short on today, for the 16th, 2 days before my 18th, I'm just grateful that I didn't give up. I'm grateful for God. I'm grateful for Him. I can hear the little voice every now and then, especially when I'm on that brink, when you're on that ledge. We've all been there. You might be on there right now, and you're like, you know what? I give up, dude. I can't do this. This is not working out for me. If you're looking to be monetized on YouTube, you're looking for an exit plan. You're looking for monetary compensation for all your time. But if you just switch that reason as to why you're doing something, like for me, it's growth. It's always been about growth. You start to get away from that ledge, and then you start looking for ways to not go back to that ledge. You start looking for ways to build a bridge over that ledge to the other side where you want to be. I'm not trying to be philosophical, sorry, my words, It takes a lot of heart. And sometimes I know people think that if we say this stuff out loud, like a lot of the stuff that I've been saying on these series, maybe someone's sitting back and being like, te crees mucho, that you're getting a big head. No, we should be able to speak about these things and say the things that we're grateful for. Speak life into ourselves. Speak on what we're proud of. Speak on the growth. Once you start doing that, you'll start seeing a pattern of not being depressed or, self-doubting your worth. I'm just grateful for that, because I was really hard on myself in my earlier years, even in the middle years, But like I said on that other video, if I can go back in time to my 20s, my 30s, and my 40s, I would say, hey, you know what? You're not going to give up. You're not going to give up. You're going to do this. You're going to see it through. There was times that, I'll share another story, since you guys like stories that we talk about. There was a time that, we were financially hurting. This is way before. This is like when I first moved to California. And we were hurting. And I had to find, money and stuff like that. I had to find ways to get food on the plate. I had to do a lot of different things, but I was working 2 jobs at the time. So I would go to work at like 7 a.m. and then get off at 4. And then from there, I would drive to the next one and start at 6 and work till 2. And those are 16-hour days. And then from 2, I would take the ride home, take a shower, stuff like that. I was asleep at like 3 and then start it up again. Now, the first job is way on the other side of the north side of Fort Worth. So it was a good 30 to 40 minutes drive. And if you're from DFW, you know that 35 is always packed. It doesn't matter what time of the day you go. That was hard. And I did it for years. And there was moments that I wanted to just throw in the towel. I remember, like I said, with this series has opened my mind up to everything that I've been through in my life, everything that the battles, everything. But I remember other people would be taking their lunch and eating their lunches. I would eat my lunch on my break so I can get that 1 hour of sleep. And I would take a little pillow and stuff like that and sleep in the employee room and get that 1 hour before I hit back on the floor and worked. And I would do the same at my second job. I would use my hour to sleep. And if I could go back and do the video that I did the other day, I would add that. That would be, in that moment in time, I would go back to myself and say, hey, you know what? It's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be better. Take a nap and we'll see you in an hour. Now, as time progressed, when I was working those 2 jobs, we were still trying to make ends meet, and we had so much stuff going on. You know, we had lawyer fees and stuff like that. I was trying to get my wife her citizenship and everything else, you know. I try not to tap too much into that because that's not my story. That's my wife's story. Sorry, the lights are going on. But I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to go back to college. Now, granted, I was working 2 jobs. So I was working 2 jobs. At that time, I already had 3 kids and my new baby born. My baby girl was born. So it was a total of 4. 2 jobs, 4 girls, a wife, mortgage, everything else was thrown at me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this for myself and I'm going to see it through. And I did University of Phoenix online and I got my degree. When I got that degree and I opened it up, you know, I just started bawling. I really let go. And I'm not trying to make this a depressed thing because it's not. This is supposed to be enlightening, but I'm just sharing that because I just thought of that too. You know, I opened up that degree. I wasn't able to go to the university and graduate with everybody. We didn't have the bags for that. But man, I was so proud. It meant a lot. It still does. So with that, I'm going to finish up today. And I just want to encourage you, if you're on that ledge and you're about to give up, don't give up. Find that fight inside of you. I just put out The Underdog. A lot of us are underdogs out there. And we have that dog fight inside of us. You know, we have that bite. All you got to do is just reach in and turn into that, you know, get into that pit bull mode and just take a bite out of life. I promise you, in time, you're going to come back. You know, if you're younger than I am or if you're older, whatever the case is, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, you know what, that was worth it. We just got to speak that. We got to learn how to applaud ourselves for things that we've done in life. I encourage you, you know, whatever your birthday is, come on here and do a daily video challenge and speak gratitude into your life for the things, you know, everything that you've been through and everything that you're going to do and everything that you're doing now, whatever the case is. But as always, I appreciate you. If you haven't seen any of those videos, go back, go check them out. They're on my playlist. So 2 more days and we're done with this. But I think I'm going to keep progressing in putting out longer form content. So thank you very much and we'll see you tomorrow. Deuces.